A normal person forgets an argument by tomorrow. You replay it for 6 years. A normal person says, "I'm fine," and means it. You say, "I'm fine," and spend the whole night dissecting why you said it. A normal person moves through the world. You feel the world move past you. That's not an accident. That's not a flaw. That's a wiring difference, and it has a name. INFP, 4 letters. And every one of them is the reason you've spent your life feeling like you're reading subtitles to a movie everyone else understands without them. Here's the number that explains it. INFPs make up roughly 4 to 5% of the population. Out of every 100 people you've ever sat across from, at school, at work, at a family dinner, maybe 4 of them process the world the way you do. The other 96? They're not wrong. They're just different. And the world was built for them. Let's break down what those letters actually mean. Because this isn't astrology. This is a mechanism. Introverted. A normal person walks into a party and comes out charged. You walk into the same party and come out running on fumes. Not because you dislike people, because your battery charges in silence, not in stimulation. Intuitive. A normal person sees a chair. You see the person who used to sit in it. Every object, every sentence, every silence, you're reading the meaning underneath it, whether you want to or not. Feeling. A normal person makes a decision by asking, "Does this work?" You make a decision by asking, "Is this right?" Logic is a tool for you. Values are the law. Perceiving. A normal person makes a 5-year plan and follows it. You make a 5-year plan and abandon it the moment it stops feeling true. Not because you're flaky, because you'd rather be honest than consistent. Put those 4 traits into one person, drop them into a world built on speed, small talk, and quick decisions. And you get a walking contradiction. You feel everything a normal person feels, just louder, slower, deeper. And here's the part that should unsettle you. This isn't a personality quiz result, it's a minority status. You've spent your whole life being asked to explain yourself to people who were never built to understand the explanation. So the real question isn't what's wrong with you. It's this. What happens when a person built for depth is forced to live at the speed of everyone else? That collision has a name too, and it's been quietly shaping every school. Was the first place the mismatch showed up. You just didn't have a name for it yet. A normal kid raises their hand, gives an answer, moves on. You raise your hand, and by the time you're called on, you've already found 3 holes in your own answer and second-guessed all of them. Teachers called it overthinking. It wasn't overthinking. It was a brain that refuses to accept an answer until it feels true, not just correct. Group projects were worse. Everyone else divided tasks and moved fast. You sat there wondering why nobody cared whether the project actually meant anything. That wasn't laziness. That was a values filter running in the background, every single time whether you wanted it to or not. Then came work, and work is where the mismatch turns into a wound. Open plan offices, constant meetings, small talk by the coffee machine that feels like static in your ears. A normal colleague thrives on it, bounces from conversation to conversation, refuels as they go. You sit through the same day and feel your energy drain in real time, like a phone at 1%, no charger in sight. Performance reviews ask you to be more assertive, network more, speak up in meetings. Nobody asks why the loudest voice in the room gets mistaken for the smartest one. Nobody asks why depth gets punished and speed gets promoted. Here's the uncomfortable statistic. Most workplace structures, open offices, rapid-fire meetings, constant availability, are optimized for extroverted, fast-processing minds. Which means, by design, they optimize against you. You're not underperforming. You're operating inside a system built for someone else's brain. Then there's dating. And this is where it gets personal. A normal person meets someone, feels a spark, moves forward. Simple. You meet someone, feel a spark, and immediately start interrogating it. Is this real, or am I just projecting a story onto them? Do they actually see me or the version of me I'm performing? You fall in love with potential, with who someone could become, and then you're crushed when they simply stay who they are. Small talk on a first date feels like static. You want the real conversation, the fears, the meaning, the what do you actually believe, and you want it in the first 20 minutes, which terrifies people who haven't caught up yet. So you get labeled too intense, too much, hard to read. You're not hard to read. You're read at the wrong speed. And here's the question that's been sitting underneath this entire video, waiting to be asked directly. If depth, meaning, and authenticity are supposed to be virtues, why does the world keep punishing you for having them first? The answer is uncomfortable. The world doesn't reward depth early. It rewards it late. And that changes everything about what happens next. Here's the twist nobody tells you at 17, at 25, even at 30. The exact traits that made you too much are the traits that eventually make you irreplaceable. Depth doesn't disappear when the world stops punishing it. It compounds, quietly, while you weren't looking. Think about it. The empathy that made you exhausted in every group project, that's the same empathy that lets you write, create, or connect in ways a purely logical mind never could. The overthinking that made you slow to answer in class, that's pattern recognition running at a depth most people never bother to reach. The refusal to fake an opinion just to fit in, that's called authenticity. And authenticity is the rarest currency in a world drowning in performance. Here's a fact that should stop you cold. An outsized number of the world's most influential writers, poets, and filmmakers test as INFPs. Not despite their sensitivity, because of it. They didn't succeed by becoming louder. They succeeded by refusing to stop being deep in a world that told them to be fast. But here's the catch nobody warns you about. It happens late. While the extroverted, fast-moving majority is already 3 jobs deep, already networked, already fluent in the language of speed, you're still sitting in the dark, quietly building something they can't see yet. That's not falling behind. That's a different timeline. Depth takes longer to build and longer to notice. But once it's built, it doesn't fade the way fast success often does. Every year you spent feeling broken was actually a year spent developing a sensitivity to meaning that most people never develop at all. The world wasn't wrong about you. It was just early. Still scrolling, still watching everyone else's highlight reel. Except now, a few years later, the scroll stops. Not because the world changed, because you did. Instead of watching other people build lives, you start building your own. A story, a piece of art, a business, a relationship, something with your fingerprints on it, something that only a mind like yours could have made. Why can't I be like them becomes the one other people quietly wonder about. Not because you got louder, because you finally stopped apologizing for being deep. Here's the line to leave you with. The world isn't built for dreamers, but the dreamers are the ones who end up building the world. If this was you, if every letter of this hit closer than you expected, you're not alone. You're just early. Subscribe, because the next video might explain the part of you that even this one didn't.